Hello? Your boys are back. We are back with another episode of the Grind Theory Podcast. The Grind Theory Podcast is a podcast that shares the stories, the unique stories of individuals, and dives into their struggles, obstacles, and failures that they faced, how they've overcame them, and what they've learned from them, with the hopes to inspire and motivate someone like you and others. See, in society today, we focus so much on the success and all the big win stories, but we don't focus on the failures, the struggles, and the obstacles. And those are the things and those are the times where we learn the biggest lessons. That's what we hope to do with this podcast. So without further ado, let's continue the conversation. Boom. We are back in the building.
Yes, sir.
With another episode of
the Grind
Theory Podcast. What's going on, my man, Ore?
I'm doing good, bro. Honestly, bro, this grind shit is tough, bro.
Yeah.
It ain't easy, bro.
I feel you.
It's not easy, bro. People don't understand, man. You know, one of those David Goggins say, like, I believe everyone knows David Goggins, but, like, bro, that guy's like, yo, you gotta go hard, bro. Bro, that shit's tough, bro. It's tough, bro.
You gotta push past limits, you know? It's not easy, but that's life, yo.
What about you, man? How you been?
I've been good, man. I've been good. I can't complain too much.
Yeah, making
Just
that money,
trying to get things in order, you know, trying to make slow steps towards progress. It's a process.
No, don't worry, man. Your ladies out there, don't worry. He's gonna be some sugar daddy soon.
Maybe in another life.
Nah, bro. What you mean,
in
bro?
another
You got
life.
a fat pocket, bro. What you mean?
I have a fat pocket, but I ain't gonna be no sugar daddy.
Come on, what you mean, bro?
But I
I know you be like 50, you know, get them sugar, them little. Let's go on to the next topic. So,
see, man wants to get me in trouble, huh? See. Before we do anything on the podcast, we must always give the man above thanks.
Yes, sir.
So first and foremost, you guys already know we gotta give God thanks, because if it wasn't for God in the first place, we wouldn't have been able to wake up to be here for the podcast today, or we wouldn't have been able to have our guests listening or to have the technology or anything working. So we must always give thanks to God first.
Always key.
So we want to thank him for that. Recapping last episode, we had Kate Duke on our last episode.
Yes, sir.
And it was dope because we had a female perspective. You know, we had from female perspective on the game.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? We had some female perspective on the game, because usually we always not always have guys, but have that male.
Honestly, there's some topics we wanted to talk about, but we can't because it's for YouTube. Honestly, bro, I think we should start a Patreon, man. What you think?
We might have to.
Because, bro, I think it's gonna be a good stuff, you know, like Patreon, just like where we can actually post content without being worried about YouTube.
Explicit content.
Yeah, you know, give out game for both guys and females. I think we will. What you think?
I think we'll have to go to our meeting board.
This guy,
I see. But it was a great episode. Because we got a female perspective of not only the game, but also how it is to be a female in the sports industry.
Yes, sir.
And working with athletes, how you get to the positions that you get to, like just the whole concept and the whole everything about it, you know? So that was a really, really dope episode. Yeah. You guys got to stay tuned and got to watch that, because it's going to be good. It's going to be juicy.
Facts.
But today,
boom.
Today, we got a special guest up in the building.
Yes, sir.
So today, our guest today is from a small town in BC.
Ooh.
And
we're crossing borders now.
We're crossing borders now,
yes,
you know what I'm
sir.
saying? We're crossing borders now.
Okay, I like this.
So a small town in BC.
Yes, sir.
Now, in his early childhood, he had a passion and a love for basketball. That's actually how I met him, you know? Nah. But you know what? When we were younger, I'm not gonna lie, he had some nice handles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was pretty good. He was pretty good.
And stuff like that.
Well, I won't go. Well, he was nice. He was nice. I'll give him that. I don't know, but I can't recall those type of things, you know? Certain things I just don't remember, you know? But so he took this passion, and he's playing sports and following his passion of basketball all the way up until grade 9.
Yeah.
where unforeseen freaking circumstances kind of happened and kind of changed and altered his path, right? But he still channeled that passion, and he started doing inner city. He started doing camps, basketball camps, and programs for inner city youth and low income families.
Yeah.
And even despite that, past that now, life has ups and downs, right?
Sure.
Everyone goes through their struggles and obstacles.
True.
And that led him to further on being an aspiring and growing content creator, as well as an automotive sales consultant, and not only that, but growing his own online presence with his own brand that he's starting, GJP, the Auto Sales Pro.
Yes, sir.
So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce my boy,
Boom, boom.
Garrett Perry.
Boom, boom, boom.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Boom,
Yes,
boom.
sir.
Thank you for the great introduction.
Okay, man.
Okay.
I
I don't know how these things
I
work.
mean, I know
bro.
that you're short,
So-
but I don't want to.
Already roasting me on the podcast.
You see. Now you guys see why I roast Aquille.
So is this good? Because I don't want to mess around with your mic and stuff like that. I'm good.
You can even move forward if you want to move forward a little bit more.
Okay. My first podcast, by the way.
Hey,
Okay.
let me
So,
go.
hey,
Let me
nice.
go.
Nice.
Everybody,
I like that.
GJP, the Auto Pro. Thank you for the introduction. Really appreciate it. I think we're good.
So, before we start,
I'm happy to be here,
yeah,
guys.
this-
The vibe is just real,
I
man.
like
right
that.
now.
I like that.
You
I
know?
like that.
I like
There's
that.
2 comments I want to make. The first one is, I hope you guys saw what Aquille did. Roasted the man on his height.
Yo,
So listen.
That's
Yo,
true.
Listen. So, if you guys see me roasting Aquille,
don't take that as an excuse. No.
No.
Don't act like you don't do this every episode.
I do to you though. I don't deny it, but you're denying it right now. You see?
Okay.
So that's the reason why I roast you, because they don't see behind the scenes.
What? Yo, that was
So just letting you guys know, this is the first one we caught Aquille on a camera. So just letting you guys know.
It's all good. Come on, man. I just said earlier, God bless me with a charismatic personality
With no-
and a very, very hardworking kind of individual kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But not height, so it's all good.
See, he knows.
Come on, I gotta
It's
roast.
not- it's not- it's
Come
not-
on now. Am I facing a tag team today now?
That's
No,
right.
that's all
Alright,
good.
you know
I ain't getting in the middle of this dynamic. That's your thing.
Don't worry.
It's okay.
Don't worry.
I got somewhere on my side today.
Nah, trust me, man. I'm strong. I'll take you both. Let's go. But
So,
as you already know, it's called the dissection season.
dissection.
I'm gonna get dissected today.
Yes, sir.
I'm actually very happy about it. So
Let's go.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
go.
So,
Yes.
you grew up in a small town in BC.
correct.
What town was it?
It's actually called. Well, I was actually born in Banff, but
Okay.
that part of my
Oh.
life is really boring. So I always leave it out.
Okay.
Don't matter. I grew up there till I was 10 years old and that kind of thing, right?
Okay.
So whatever, just a little kid living a little kid life in a middle class family, right? Whatever, typical Canadian, right?
Yeah.
And then we moved to the Okanagan for a couple of years, and then I ended up in what's called Salmo, BC,
Oh,
Samo,
Samo,
BC.
BC.
a
Okay.
town of 1,500 people.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah,
small.
it's like hick town, right? And then what's in the it's called the West Kootenays, and there's actually probably 50,000 people there.
Okay.
Right? There's different towns spread out half an hour from each other and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Really cool growing up there, but at the same token, you get into a lot of stuff too, right? You know,
okay.
small town crap.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of thing. But it was cool, man. I moved out here for a little bit too, right? And when I was a little bit older and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But growing up there, I think it was good for me for sure. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
So I have a question. Like, what would be some of the activities that you would do, kind of growing up? Because I don't know this is a thing, right? But I don't know where it is. But I heard that they do this thing called cow tipping, but I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a real. I don't know if that's a real thing.
Well, that's if your hips is with a cowboy hat
I don't
on
know.
and stuff.
I'm just asking. I don't-
I grew up in a small town, BC, but really, actually, I played ball till grade 11, pretty much, right?
Okay.
Not grade 9, but it's all good,
Okay.
right? So, but when I was younger, I just
Yeah.
played ball, and that's it. And in the little town of 1,500 people,
Yeah.
like Larry Bird, pretty much,
Yeah,
right?
it's like- yeah.
Except I had a different style of
yeah.
playing basketball than Larry, you know.
yeah.
You know, I was more straightforward, and he's a lot better than I am. Obviously, let's put that down right now. But yeah, it was interesting because I never got into trouble until I stopped playing ball, right?
Oh.
And I played basketball religiously from grade 7 to grade 11, pretty much. You know, and you remember me coming down here, you know, on the summers. You know, Mrs. Chris White, open up the gym, crossed him up a couple times. You know what I'm saying, right?
Did you ever break his ankles?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
See?
I probably did. I broke a lot of ankles, bro.
You did.
You broke a lot of ankles, but they weren't my ankles. See, my ankles were strong.
Maybe.
I just come from the Caribbean.
You know
my ankles were strong sometimes.
If you never broke his ankle, it'll stay with his full chest. The fact that
I can't remember.
No,
I can't remember.
The fact, there's some stuff you listen. Q, I know you, bro. That's
but but listen. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's my point.
But I do remember he had nice handles. Like, I give it to him. He had nice handles. I do remember that.
I think he broke it.
I kind of had a reputation in the Edmonton area as like this kid like is good. He's nice. You know, a lot of people actually knew about me, even though I didn't even live here. Like we used to go to like Pride of the North Side. You know, AGP. Like he always ran this thing on the North Side, and I think he's still running stuff like that. Yeah. So a lot of people knew who I was. But yeah, it was a good time playing ball and that kind of thing, right?
Just like little like white chocolate, little headband, bald
I did,
head.
I got hair now, but I used to shave it down to the bone.
Like that,
Well, I always want to be like Kobe, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Kobe was an inspiration.
Yeah, for sure. Kobe was always an inspiration to me. Still is.
So, what actually led you to playing ball? Like, how did that become a passion for you at such an early age? Like, what led you to that?
I grew up playing hockey first.
Oh, okay.
But then I picked up a basketball, and every time I go to the hockey games, I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm doing that for my dad pretty much, right? Because I played like hockey from like, I don't know, since I was like 6 years old to like 11 pretty much, or 12 even. Okay. And then when I turned 12, I picked up this basketball, and I'm like, this is way more fun because I can actually control the ball. And I got obsessed with ball handling. Like literally every single night, I'm practicing in the basement an hour a night, practicing my ball handling and doing the tennis ball drills, 2 balls, whatever I could do to improve my handles, right? Yeah. So that obsession has actually really helped me out later on in life to kind of, you know, put that I guess that focus and that drive into something else. So it's I thought it was a waste of time. You know, when I got to grade 12, because I was like, I was looking at all my buddies, you know, they're going to the ACIT programs where people go learn how to weld and get their tickets and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, I've just been playing ball from like, you know, grade 7 to 11. And I thought I wasted time. Right. And I was like, I got to quit. So I just got up and quit.
So there was
I threw it all out the door. Really? And I went to go work at a mill. And I lost my job there too. And like, I'm like, yo, like, why did I do that? Like, it affected me a little bit, right? And I thought like I should have like stuck with ball and like enjoyed the last year of grade 12 playing, you know, go to provincials and that kind of stuff. But I threw all that out the window to be a working man, right? Yeah. And everything happens for a reason though. So those decisions and that decision I made has pretty much molded who I am as I move forward in life. Because definitely like in grade 11, I went through this identity crisis. I was like, okay, straight up baller, got the Jordan shorts, the Jordan 1s, and, you know, have my hat on sideways, like, what's up, boys? Like, you know, and all of a sudden I'm like, hello, I'm a redneck, and I'm done with basketball, right? And I was wearing cowboy boots and stuff like that, and then my life went like downward spiral, right? But for a little bit, always up and down, right? That's life. But after that, I thought I wanted to be a firefighter, right? I wrote that in my bio. So I went to school for that as well. That was cool, but I'm not a firefighter anymore, obviously, right? So that was fun. But yeah, I'll let you run the podcast. Ask me the questions.
So what I want to know is what really made you, like, you just decided to not play basketball anymore? Like, it just...
Everyone was dumbfounded.
There was no, like, what was the thing that made you think, yo, this is a waste of time, that I need to go and be a working man now?
And I recommend any young viewers watching this, play your sports as long as you can. Because you only live once, and those are like precious memories that you need to hold on to and do as long as you can and enjoy the time with your teammates and play whatever sport you like. Keeps you out of trouble too, trust me. But I guess the reason why I did it, and I said it before, is before, like, I guess when I got to grade 12, right, I'm seeing my buddies, they got pickup trucks, and they got this. I'm in small town BC, right? And, you know, the girl's like going with them, whatever. And I'm just like, you know, I'm like, I got nothing. You know, I'm just playing ball, right? My mama's boy, right? I still am. I love my mom to death. But, I'm seeing all my buddies with the stuff and their cars, they're driving this. I'm like, you know what? I want that. You know, and I'm like, why haven't I started working yet, right? really, when I think back, I could have started working and still played basketball at the same time,
Yeah.
right? But I didn't.
He's like, no, it's all in one.
Yeah, that's the way I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I just burped. I ate Indian food earlier. I know you guys might smell that. I'm actually half Indian, by the way. Do you guys know that?
I did not know
Oh, wow.
No, like literally, my mom is from Madras, like Chennai, South India. She's as dark as you, bro.
that. I did
Look at
not
me.
know that.
I'm
Damn.
like pale white.
Damn.
And yeah, I'm half Indian, so I was eating Indian food at my grandparents' house. But back to the point, yeah, like when I was seeing all my buddies with these trucks and stuff, and I'm like, I want that, so I just quit, right?
Yeah.
And I've always been that type of person, and it's been a deficit and a good thing to me as well. I'm like always all in and nothing else. It's like I'm doing that, right? And it's been really good for this GJP Auto Pro because I've immersed myself in it, but it's also kind of a detriment to me when I was younger too.
Yeah.
So that kind of, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So you said that you kind of went through an identity crisis when you kind of stopped playing ball, right? And I kind of want to know what your mindset was in that period, and how did you kind of find your like something new to kind of identify yourself with?
Exactly right.
And the reason why I want to ask you that is just because like I went through something similar with the injury when I had with football, and I kind of lost my identity. So that's why I'm asking you that question.
For sure. So I guess in grade 12, I was like, yeah, I want to be a working man, right? So I'm like, I want to be a firefighter, right? And I thought that was going to be like the passion that I could take and go into firefighting, right? And I went to school for it. I volunteered at the fire department in the small town, whatever. I thought I was like, top SHIT, right? I thought it was top stuff, right? Because I'm like, I want to be a guy with like the overalls on and
You
stuff
want to be
like
on the
that.
calendar. That's
Exactly, right? Big dog, driving the truck, right? So I went into a firefighting school, and I actually came out here to do that. It was in Sherwood Park. And that's what I tried to do, right? I tried to kind of, obviously use that as a fill the void, right? I don't know, something inside of me was like, I don't know, Garrett, like, I don't know, God was pulling me a different way, and I never really, like, actually did it. I went to school, I passed it, and then after that, it's like, okay, what am I doing now? Right? And I was kind of floating around from, I guess, 18 until, like 20 pretty much. And then I started that inner city youth sports program here because I was still in Edmonton living with my folks, my aunt and uncle, right? They let me stay with them. I didn't have much money. I'm just a kid, right? So I stayed with them, and I ran into this guy. He's my mentor now, still is to this day. I met him. He was our neighbor. And I was like, living here for a couple years after firefighting school and that kind of thing, right? And I'm like, I'm not a firefighter yet. What am I doing? I'm just doing odd jobs like landscaping and stuff like that. And then he's like, dude, like, this is what I do, And then I'm like, well, I kind of want to do that too, right? So I started my first camp, and I think Luther was there. And there's this other guy. I forget his name. If you're watching this, bro, I'm sorry. I forget. I love you, bro. If you've seen this.
You don't even know. You don't even know him, bro.
I wish I could pull up him on my phone, whatever. It's all good. So we started that first inner city youth sports program, right? And I'm like, wow, like this is sweet, bro. And pulling your question of passion, I took the passion of basketball and obviously brought it to the camps, right? And I ran 9 successful inner city youth sports programs, a basketball camp in Edmonton for 9 months straight, right?
One every month.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy crap, like I'm like doing, I should have like, obviously to go back. And when I was running that, I'll get to when I failed. It's all good. We don't need to get to that point quite yet,
Oh, wow.
Up and down, right? My whole life, right? I think we all kind of have that in our lives where we go up and down. I've had it many times though, even in the past year, I've had some ups and downs with different struggles and that kind of stuff, right? But the sports program was really cool, man. Not only did I have to go out, like I said on my bio, I had to go out and canvas and go talk to like young
and stuff too.
Yeah, that's one part of it. But I like go talk to these kids on the street. I'm out and about. I'm like, guys, like come to the camp. There's free pizza. Only costs like $10. If you can't afford it, whatever, just come, right? So first camp is like 30 kids. I'm like, holy crap, right?
Okay.
Now to go along with that though, where I got my actual passion of like sales and stuff, was the sponsorship side of it, right? Where I would literally like, let's say John's Plumbing drove by. Okay, get the number. Hey, John, it's Garrett from yada, yada, yada. This is what I'm doing in the area. Call him. It was very difficult, though, right? If I could, like, take this person back, I would just, like, destroy the sponsorship game with that. Yeah. But, yeah, that's kind of where I brought my passion into everything and that kind of stuff, right? So, anyways, I'm going to stop talking. You can ask another question that leads into more stuff you'd like.
I actually even have one that is related to what you're saying. So when you started the business, you said you were physically like taking your phone and calling different businesses to get sponsorship.
Knocking on doors.
So if you can go back in time, what are different stuff you'd have done differently?
So I'll give you a little story. Okay. So one day, I'm like, okay, like I think this is like the first couple times I was doing sponsorship. I went to 100 businesses.
In a day.
Probably in a couple of days. Okay. No. I'm just asking for $75 sponsorships. That's it. Hey, can you guys like give me $75? I'm trying to bring these kids to camp. I'm trying to pay for the rent. I'm trying to pay for their pizza. I'm trying to pay for all this stuff. Help me out. And I if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have done it 100 times and got no's. I would have stepped back and like, okay, what can I do differently to approach these people and do it a different way where I could actually get a yes, pretty much, right? But again, sometimes you have to go through those things in order to learn too.
That's
right?
100%.
Because if you don't get out there, like I used to grind these streets, bro. Like I would be on the north side, I'd be on the south side, I'd be like knocking, hey, how's it going, sir? Like I'm doing this, I'm doing that, right? I'm a little excited about it. No, I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'd be like, I'd slow it down. I'd be like, hey, like, you guys have some time to chat? Like, I'm doing some really cool things in the Edmonton area, and I just wanted to see if you guys had any time to hear me out and see what we're doing. Something a very more soft approach. Get people like asking questions. Oh, what are you doing, Garrett? And all of a sudden they're connecting with you. That's sales. Asking questions, right? Yeah. Not just going and pitching.
True.
You don't just go and pitch. Yeah. That's not what sales is about. Sure. It's about connecting with people, right? Yeah. So to answer your question, to go back, I would have, not to say, like, I think it was a good thing that I went through those trials and tribulations of like grinding and no's. But at the same token, if I could go back and change it, that's what I would do. Slow it down, maybe, engage with them a little bit before I start pitching something. Because when you walk in a business or any person, they don't want to be sold, or they don't like salespeople. True. They have a bad rep, and which they should. And there's been a lot of, Wolf of Wall Street, ripped off millions of people, right? And they still do it in the stock market today. He wasn't the only one doing it, right? But that's why they have a bad rep. So if you that's what I would do differently. Ori,
I have a question for you. So you said that you were receiving lots and lots of no's, right? Mm-hmm. So how did you, what was your mindset when you were receiving the no's? Because did you ever get discouraged, like, yo, man, maybe I should just, quit?
After the 100th time, it was kind of difficult. I'm just I'm talking to my mentors, just keep going. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like -20 out. I'm walking around in a shirt and a tie. I should have had a jacket on, but I wanted to look like a salesman, right? And to go back, I was like, I'm trying to get all these kids to come to camp. I'm like doing this. And I actually started to get the sponsorships because I got better at it a little bit.
Yeah, just from doing it over and over.
I did get better at it. I did get better at actually calling someone who doesn't even know me, right? And I could go back in time and obviously just kill the game again. But I enjoy what I do more now, and I have a goal to what I want to do now. So I don't think I'll get back to that. Yeah. But I still have different platforms I do want to give back to the community too, right? Yeah. Maybe I can even text you guys a picture, and you guys can put. I saw because of the other podcast. Yeah. Did you maybe put a picture there? Yeah. I have a really cool picture where there's 30 kids. What's that? That rec center up on the north side.
The Arc?
Yeah. I think it's the Arc. Yeah. No.
The one that's
it's off the beaten path, way north.
Clearview?
No, maybe it's the Arc. I don't know. All they have is a gym in there, and that's it.
Yeah,
is that the Arc?
That's the Arc.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a cool picture. Maybe you guys want to put that in there because when I look back on that, even though I failed at the end of it because I got really tired, and what I wish I did is I started selling cars here in Edmonton and still ran the camps. But after 9 months, and we'll get into, I actually have a bad chronic pain injury. Can't really work out or ball too much anymore. I'm still working on it. I'm getting better day by day. But that was getting really bad where I'm like, holy crap, I can't even walk. It was really bad. So at the end of the 9th camp, And I'll tell you a little story, or if you want to ask another question, or should I tell the story?
Go for it.
Okay, I did all these camps, right? And in the last camp, okay, my mentor, my buddy's running these camps with me, because just to help me out and direct the camps, he's on crutches, okay? And at the end of every camp, I have a huge, like, just tables. I got like 30, 40 pizzas for all the kids, right? And all the kids, yeah, pizza. And you know how you do a break at the end of the camp? Like, yeah, like YEG, like boom. And then everyone goes to get their food at the end.
Yeah.
But I wasn't standing in front of the food, bro. I wasn't standing in front of the food. So just picture, okay, hungry inner city kids who are just coming to the camp. Some of the kids don't even have shoes. They're playing around in socks, right? And there's a table full of pizzas right there. And there's no one stopping the kids from getting the pizzas and having orderly fashion of like people eating. So I got kids running, grabbing full pizzas, running around. Some kids don't even get pizza, and some kids are running out of the gym with pizzas in under their arm, like full boxes. And I'm just like, oh, that was the time where I'm like, I can't do this anymore, you know? So I quit and I went back home. And yeah, we can get to more, but you can ask some questions.
So what I want to know is, what did you learn about yourself in that process of the 9 months dealing with those, doing those programs and those, and cold calling, all that stuff?
Or you need a coffee, bro.
Nah, I'm good. Don't worry. Trust me.
What did you learn about yourself?
What did I learn about myself? I learned that I can do anything I want. That's what I learned.
Powerful.
Yeah, I learned that because I started with something from scratch, nothing. And I built a camp that had a brand around it, and people were following it, and families were bringing their kids to camp after 9 months. Not even a year.
So okay, so do you think that's a mindset thing though? Like, because did you have that mindset to say like, yo, I can do anything when you started it?
No.
Okay.
I was like, oh, I don't know, like, what am I, what's going to happen, right?
So your mindset changed in the process of doing that throughout the... Okay.
Correct. But, at the end of it, I hit rock bottom because my body was hurting. I felt like a 90-year-old man. Chronic pain everywhere, right? And then, literally after that, I went down into, like the dungeons, pretty much. I was a skid, pretty much. Getting my hands on any... One sec, I got Indian food coming up on me. I just don't want you guys to be like, dying. Okay. I was eating chapati, rasam, kurma, all that kind of stuff, right? I can say, I know how to pronounce it. I'm half Indian, bro. So, pretty much after the camps, right? Boom, rock bottom, because I was defeated. I was a bum after. I owed my buddy $4,000 as well, because he was putting money into developing the business with me and that kind of stuff too, right? So I just ran away. I went back home, and he was like, bro, what the heck? You right? And I actually just cut ties with him. And
Really?
Not anymore.
Okay.
There's a reason why I got all this stuff going because of him, and he's helping me out and stuff like that, right? He's still my mentor to this day. So I was back in my hometown in Soundville, BC. Just picture it. I was like, trying to do stuff, and all of a sudden, boom, fail. My body hurts. I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm just starting doing, I don't know if we can say drugs on here. I don't know. I started. I just want to make sure you guys get monetized.
You can still talk some stuff.
So I started doing like tons of drugs again, and I did it before in the past, but there's too many times where I went up and down to really describe when I did it and that kind of stuff. But that time, I literally turned into a full-blown drug addict, and I gave up on life.
Damn.
Pretty much. I wanted to kill myself. Pretty much. I was that depressed. Really? And my parents were worried about me, obviously. You got to think, I'm a 21, 22-year-old guy or something, right? I can't keep track of how old I was, and I can't do anything because my body's actually just imagine having just soreness everywhere and tightness.
Damn.
And it just doesn't go away, right? So when I'm down there, I meet this guy. And he's a myofascial therapist. And that literally changed my life in regards to me getting better pretty much, right? But when I was before, right after, drug addict. And then all of a sudden, maybe I should do something again with my life, right? And I started selling cars. Boom.
So, okay, man. Kid. So your mind just it's just like, yo. Your mind just switches it's like switching constantly because it's like, you were doing these camps, right? First you were playing ball. You're like, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna play ball no more. And then you went, been a firefighter. You're like, this is not really for me. Let me try something else. And then you went into that. And then after that, and your body was kind of going through it, you said, I'm going to quit. And then that's kind of when you went into the hardest kind of, or most difficult kind of part there.
Definitely, it's a dark time. Yeah.
And then you're just like, nah, it's good. Like let's.
Well, dude, God put that on my path, right? And honestly, like I had to get brought down again and beaten down and brought to nothing in order to move to where I am today, anyways, right? So I feel like if I didn't fail at that business that I was trying to do, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today, anyways, right? I can look back at it and be like, oh, I wish I kept it going, or I wish like this happened. Whatever, everything happens for a reason, right?
So what reason do you think that happened for? Just from your own introspection that you've done since then. Like, what do you think?
Lessons, hard lessons.
And what lessons did you learn?
That's a very good question. He's good at asking questions, bro. Like I underestimated this man. I underestimated Aquille. So what lessons did I learn? I learned that, first of all, if something happens in the past and it was your fault and it went bad, you got to let it go, for one. That's a lesson you always got to do. You got to let that go, because the enemy, I believe there's the enemy, dude. I don't care what you say. There's always a dark side, and I'm in spiritual warfare every single day. You know what I'm saying? So the enemy always wants to bring me down so he can kill me and strangle me, right? So what we have to do as people who have faith and want to actually move forward in life, I don't care what people believe in, whatever. I believe in what I believe in, right? And I have a spiritual connection to that, right? So, and my first lesson to that is you can't let that failure bring you down, right? And then that would be the biggest lesson that I've learned from that, for sure. The second lesson is, again, you can do anything you want. Like I did that, right? And now I'm doing this, right? So it's just like, you can always do whatever you want. Even if you fail, you can always restart and do something different, right? So yeah, we only have a certain amount of time in life. We have a long life. We also have a short life. And in my opinion, God gives us, literally, in my opinion, like this is why I had to like stop smoking ganja and stuff like that, because it actually takes away from God's gifts to me. Because God's gift to me is I'm a hustler. Is that I work my bum off, my ass off, right? I'm just trying to be careful. And like, I don't know if you guys ever read the Old Testament and stuff like that. I think Ecclesiastes is an Old Testament, and
time for everything.
And what I get out of that is, well, nothing really matters because when we die, it's all going to be gone. But what does matter is the gift that God gives us, that we can still hustle, and He gives us actual peace and content in the hustle, right? And that's what I'm wired to do. God wires all of us that way, whether you want to believe it or not. We're all wired to do good things and great things, right? So that's I don't know what I'm getting at.
No, I think I got your point. It's just like,
I don't know how we got there, but
I got your point, because it's like that saying, everyone has
lessons.
a talent. Lessons. So
exactly, right? So and he gives us, like, without him, none of the hustle matters. Nothing at all, to me at least.
I love that. You brought up a lot of key points that I actually like to tap into. One thing is that you said that regardless of what like whether you failed in the past or whatever like that, you got to keep going. And I think that's a big lesson, because a lot of people, they see failure and they're like, oh man, well that's evidence that I can't do it again, or I can't do this new thing, right? But like, that's just a lesson. That's a learning lesson that you gotta take. That's the whole point of the podcast, like to talk about people's struggles, because it shows that, like, yo, there's so many people that have gone through struggles where that you might have thought it was the end, but it was just the beginning for them to do something great. Like from ball to the inner city school programs to now doing JGP. Right? So like,
it's big.
It's big.
And now what I want to do with GJP Auto Pro is, obviously I got to sell cars, make money. I love selling cars. It's a good time, right? But I also run contests and food drives that build my brand even more, where people can drop, like I've ran, I think like 2 food drives. I filled up like the whole back of like vehicle. I'm not like, oh, Mother Teresa, look at me. But no, I like doing that stuff, right? So like even like down the road, I want to do more contests where I can actually fill up like a U-Haul of like food for lower income families, donate that to the food bank and that kind of thing, right? Well, basically, some of the stuff that I do to grow my brand is I'll run like a food drive and say, hey, Like, and you know, when you do stuff like that, it gets your name out there more and that kind of thing. But people can drop off a non-perishable food item or a bag of groceries, and they get entered to win, like, you know, $500 worth of gift cards, pretty much, right? And there's a third winner, second winner, and first winner, right? So that's other stuff that I like doing, and I think GJP Auto Pro will also mold into me being able to make an impact and a bigger difference down the road too. So that's definitely something I've taken from the inner city stuff that I was doing and bringing it to GJP as well, right? So yeah.
And what gave you that passion to really want to help kids and like lower income families and stuff like that? Like where did that come from? Was it something that you always wanted to do, or is it something that kind of developed from seeing a certain situation?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't something that I always wanted to do, right? It was something that got my eyes open to, you know, not just being, because for me, especially right now, I don't just want to be that guy that's like sells cars, like, ooh, like, you know, whatever, whoop-de-doo, I sell cars. Like, that's not, like, how is that even unique? You know, that's not unique, right? I want to be GJP Auto Pro that sells cars, but also does big things in the community and is also an online entity that helps out everyone pretty much, and is like, I'm not just some guy at a dealership that sells cars, right? But what was your question again? You said if I've always thought that way.
If you always thought that way, or was there a situation that led you to think that way?
Definitely the inner city youth sports program definitely opened my eyes to that, for sure, 100%. Okay. And then it's grown even more as I got Indian food coming up again in my oh, too much of that. Okay. So after I've done a couple of these contests that, you know, donate food to the food bank and stuff like that, that's grown even more now, you know, and that's what drives me in the back of my mind. I'm like, hey, I want to do big things, guys, you know, I don't just want to be normal, right? So it's growing even more as I get more connected with my faith as well, because when I get more connected to my faith, I just want to work harder and harder and harder. It's like God gives me this gift to like keep hustling, you know, so yeah.
Okay. No, I like that. What would you say, because now that you're doing a lot of this content creation and now that you're really on this online presence, right? What would you say, because I know me and Ore are doing the same thing, kind of on that online kind of content creation. So what would you say are, like, I guess the biggest kind of obstacles that you kind of face in that process? Or like, what's something that you're kind of working on? Because I know you were saying like you just put yourself out there, you make videos constantly, push yourself out there. And that's one thing that a lot of people, when they come, right, there's like, I was listening to this podcast, I think it's like the Lewis House podcast, and they were saying that lots of people, they come here, right? Everyone is here. But the people that start, they take that extra leap, right? And you're just starting all this stuff, starting. Whether it might take some time to grow, but you're still starting all that stuff. So what kind of gives you that drive to just start that stuff, and what helps you like through this content creation that you're doing? Like, kind of what's the process and how do you like continue to do it?
Okay, so first of all, content creation is my real passion.
Okay.
I love making content. Sure, I like sales and making relationships with people, and I've been able to make good money without going to school and actually just being like a hustler, right? That's what I like. It just like makes me on fire, right? But at the same token, content creation is my real passion, right? And then can you just rephrase your question again real quick for me?
So I wanted to know, like, what are some of the obstacles and the struggles that you kind of had during your content creation?
For sure.
And what kind of keeps you, like, gives you the ability to keep pushing, even if there's lots of views, no views, like.
Exactly. Okay, that's a good question. So in my opinion, like, if you go look back at like Grant Cardone, you know who that is?
Yep. Yeah.
His early like I tried scrolling to his like old stuff, and you can scroll for like 10 hours. You can't get to the bottom. He has so much stuff, right? Yeah. The key is, if you even have like a crappy video and it's not the greatest quality, put it out there. There's always going to be a video tomorrow, right? So one of the biggest things that I've had to do is, I think you guys do really good with your camera presence as well. Just me sitting over there before I came in, I'm like, these guys are on point, bro. So I spat on you, bro.
All good. Don't worry, go for it.
These guys are on point, right? And I'm like, that's what the biggest thing is because I know like guys who are like top-notch sales guys, you know, but they have no camera presence. They're just a sales guy, right? Sure. So camera presence has been the biggest obstacle, because if you even scroll down to my older videos, it's really awkward and I'm talking really fast. Like, I can't even like really like say, I know I do talk fast, but it wasn't as good, right? Yeah. But I kept pushing it out there, right? And one of the biggest obstacles is like, oh, I kind of look like an idiot there, whatever, put it out there. Who else is putting those videos out there? If anyone says anything, it's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, why are you saying that to me? Because I'm putting these videos out there. So now my camera presence has been like, you know, on point. And now I feel like this next 12 months is going to be really big for me. To grow my following even more, especially my YouTube channel I've been working on and stuff like that. Because if you even look at my Instagram page, I think I have like 660 followers, whatever. Those are true followers though. Like those are people who follow my story every day and people who actually hit me up to buy cars too. Right? So like that's been a big thing for me where I am. Right? So I want to grow the following, obviously. Right? And I also want to start my YouTube channel and do like, hey, you know, your weekly test drive with GJP Auto Pro, and it's going to be really entertaining because if you look at my page, and everyone go check out GJP Auto Pro and see what I'm talking about because
drop the link.
I think I do make entertaining videos, even if it's just a car ad that's talking about, hey, like, you know, look at this car, like it's still content and it's still entertaining. Like people always tell me that, right? So a big obstacle is, first of all, getting my camera presence and just working that out. Learning how to just chop your videos real quick, you know, on the fly, getting them chopped and stuff. iMovie's great. There's other stuff you can get as well. And then also a bigger obstacle I'm running into now is developing more intricate videos and cooler reels and cooler angle shots of cars and really working on my videography skills. That's the next step for me, and that's what's going to be the biggest kind of what were you saying again?
The biggest
obstacle.
Yeah.
And whatever, just do it, right?
I can give you a tip when it comes to making videos, which is just start. Like, don't even think about it too much because like the more you shoot it, the better you get. Like, you know what you were saying about the Grant Cardone?
Grant Cardone. Yeah.
So there's a couple guys I follow when it comes to stuff like that. Check that Oda's videos. Trash.
Even Lewis House.
Trash. So there's that, especially with YouTube, which I think I'm applying personally with this and my personal YouTube channel, which is like, don't think about views, likes, comments, subscribes. Don't think about none of those stuff until after 100 videos. Constant
content creation. It also, it'll crack the algorithm if you're constantly putting stuff out there. Right? It doesn't matter if you get views on this one or you don't. If you didn't, if you keep not getting views and you've made like 100 videos, well, what am I doing wrong? But you guys have already got tons of views, which is really cool to see. Right? And I'm not an expert, but I think like the intro, maybe you guys should like do something more like cool, like, hey, like you guys downtown YEG, like saying, hey guys, like this is our next episode. Like, have you ever seen London Real? Boys, like I could totally see you guys doing that, like downtown YEG, hey, like you know, and like getting some different shots of you guys working out on that camera and make them higher quality for your intros. But again, you guys have more of a following than I do, but that's just my 2 cents on that, right? You guys have done really well with what you have.
That's what we ask. See, you guys, you see what he just did? What? That's what we ask for all the time.
Every episode.
That's what we want. We want feedback, yo. Feedback.
Good.
Get a like. It's not gonna hurt my feelings, man.
Actually,
like
today I think I was telling him too. So you know, I was saying I just came from a photo shoot. So the person I did the photo shoot actually gave me some feedback, and she was like, she gave me 2 different stuff. What was the first one? The audio, the levels. She was like, it's different levels. Like it's not the same level.
With these?
Yeah. So like what? Like, my voice, like for example, Aquille voice might be louder. Your voice might be in between. My voice might be in between. And she was like, stuff like that. Like it doesn't equal because like you can be listening to that audio in a car and then all of a sudden it spikes up. So then the next one was, what did she say? The background noise. I mean, we can't really do much because you have to like soundproof the whole studio, which is ridiculous. It's a lot of money.
You gotta work with what you got for right now, obviously.
But like that's what I'm saying. Like the feedback is really how you grow. To be honest, we're good. And feedback is really how you grow. Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Are we good? Are we running out of time?
We're good. Don't worry.
And that's the thing, right? It's the 1% better mentality that we're trying to go in with, right? Like, if I don't get feedback, like I can improve on myself, but it's always good to have. There's some things that I might not see, or that Ore might not see with the podcast. This is our podcast, maybe biased it, right? Whereas somebody else with a new, fresh perspective might be able to see.
For sure.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
But I think you guys have done really good.
Thank you.
Like, until I ran into you on White Ave that night, whatever, I didn't really even pay attention to what you're doing, to be honest with you. And I'm like, oh, crap, what is he doing? And I went and checked it out. I'm like, holy crap, like, this is really cool. Like, even seeing you guys set all this stuff up with the lighting. And I don't know any of this stuff. All I know is put the camera on, put the thing on there so the lighting stay the same on the video, right? It doesn't change. Like, this is really cool, right? So... It's definitely like a step in the right direction, right? And 1% better every day adds up.
Sure.
Right?
It literally does.
Like you gotta crawl before you walk.
100%.
Right?
100%.
You know? So
100%.
Yeah.
So in building your personal brand, what would you say is like the most challenging aspect of it? And like what's the most exciting part of it as well?
Okay, so challenging is I don't think people really realize how hard it is to build a personal brand.
Man,
like I
tell
think
them.
people just get lucky when they build it, and it's like, oh, it's like no, dude. Those guys that
work.
have those brands have hustled 24/7, like and bled through their eyes, right? Like there's just like there's no give in it. You know, it's either you do it or you don't. So the biggest part of it is the always like you live like honestly like when I walk around, when I go to the airport, I wear GJP. When I go to the grocery store, I'm wearing GJP. I'm always repping GJP everywhere I go because that's my personal brand. That's my baby, bro, right? So the biggest difficulties, in my opinion, to building a personal brand is the constant content creation. That's it.
Triple C.
Consistency is key. And you guys always say that. Consistency,
yes,
bro.
we do.
Like
It's
consistency
key.
is your biggest thing because sometimes I've gone through legs and I'm like going through a tough time mentally and that kind of thing. And like I didn't post anything for like a month. And I'm like, oh crap, what am I doing? Right? You know, and that's when I'm, smoking too much ganja and like getting off a track, right?
Yeah. Question. Sorry. I just right where you're at. So I don't know.
I think I know
You asked what you were asked.
No. I think I know what you want to say, bro.
Oh no. So what I want to ask is like, so you see how you're going through those laws, right? Of like, oh man, having not doing any content for that month period or whatever like that. How do you bounce back out of that? Like, how do you get out of that? That's not what you expected me to ask.
It was.
So
it was? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The problem is when you do that, you almost have to restart over.
Again, right? Like
you have to like get you gotta put the gas or you gotta dump the coal into the steam train or however those things work. I don't know. Like get it going again, right? So you just have to boom, switch your mindset. Okay, boom, we're starting today and we're not stopping. That's it. And then after, like, it's easy because after a week or 2 weeks, you're back into the routine of just knowing, okay, I got to shoot this today. I got to get this done today. I got to shoot out, like, my 10 DMs a night to, like, have people like, hey, what's up? Like, I DM people all the time to be like, hey, like, follow my page, check this out, whatever, right? So it's all those things put together. But the biggest obstacle, is that what you're saying? Or when you stop that?
I was going to say, like, how do you snap back out of those kind of laws, right?
Honestly, you can't. You just got to do it, man. Like, I mean, you got to just get back to focus. Okay, for me, stop smoking ganja, right? Because when I smoke ganja, I'm not like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, even the day after, the 2 days after, I'm still like, I'm like tired. I'm still feeling lethargic, right? So it's like, boom, okay, snap out of that, Garrett. Don't do that again, right? Yeah. And again, I'm really hard on myself, which is a good thing and a bad thing too, right? Because if you're really hard on yourself, oh, why did I do that? Why did I keep doing that, right? Yeah. And I'm like, you know what, Garrett, be hard on yourself and don't smoke weed, pretty much, right? And some people, like I know, like really successful people that are like just like they smoke a lot of ganja, right? They just do it every day. Yeah. I'm not one of those guys. I can't do it. I can't communicate because my brain has cannabinoids in it and it can't do what it needs to do. Yeah. As you can tell, I'm a pretty high-strung kind of person, right? Yeah. And I'm always like this. I'm never not like this. Yeah.
True.
Like when I wake up,
every time I met
like
you,
bro, when I wake up in the morning and I'm not like smoking ganja, I'm like, whoa, I might wake up, I'm like, oh, read some stuff out of the Bible. I'm like, this day is gonna be great, right? And I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. But when I smoke weed, I don't have that same kind of energy in the morning, and it takes my focus off, right? So I guess the way I do that is I am hard on myself, and I'm like, hey, we need to like draw a line in the sand again, and just realize that we need to basically start the process over again and content creation and keep doing that, because you do so much work, but then you stop. It's like, right? Exactly. It can be hard on you, right? So
so you jumped into something else. See, you're hitting a lot of points that that I like because they actually relate to me as well, right?
That's good.
So you said that you're very hard on yourself, right?
Yes.
I'm very hard on myself too, right? So, but there's like even I think this week I might have had like maybe 3 or 4 people tell me that I was like, you're too hard on yourself. You gotta take it easy, right? But this is the thing that I kind of struggle with, right? It's like, it's the line between being too hard on myself and knowing what I'm capable of doing. I'm like, man, I should be doing better than this stuff that I'm doing right now, right? So like, I know that I can do better. So like, I'm not being hard on myself. It's like, I know that I can do better. You don't know me enough to be like, that I'm being hard on myself kind of thing, right?
100%. And some people tell you like, hey, you got to stop working so much. Right? It's like, well, first of all, you take a step back, not to give disrespect to that person, be like, okay, well, where are they in their life right now? Are they just a 9 to 5?
Yeah.
And if you just want to do 9 to 5 over your life, that's cool,
okay,
whatever. You know, get your pension and that kind of stuff. You know, I'm thinking like, yo, I'm gonna work until I die. Like that's what God gave me. Like God wants me to keep on going, right? So if someone says that to me, I'm like, okay, well, sometimes, I need to like not work 7 days a week because I do get mentally tired, right? And sometimes you have to just tell yourself that, right? But you know in the back of your mind, if you haven't done enough work anyways, right? So you're the biggest judge of that. And no one else can be the judge of that except for you, right? So that's what I would kind of touch base on that.
Okay, so from that, so you know yourself, right? You know, like, okay, man, I'm really not doing it, or I am doing like too much. So then, if you go ahead,
that's something to add to that. There's never too much. That's one thing I know for a fact. I remember, I think it was in the book I was reading, which is like, bro, the grind is, even if people don't say it in a way, the grind is war, because that people trying to be where you want to be. The people on the same level. Like, let's use the podcast for example. I don't know if you know this guy. It's Fresh and Fit. I've never heard of them before. There's guys in 1 year grew the podcast from 0 subscribers down to right now they're at 450K in a year. Every single night they shoot a live. That's single
the grind,
night,
bro.
And like, bro, they don't miss a night. They shoot twice actually. One early and one in the night. Midnight they're shooting episodes. So what the main thing I'm trying to put is that I can't remember who said it, but it was like, yo, you can't be comparing yourself to people that put in 15, 20, 30 hours in the grind, and you put in 5.
Correct.
So to me, there's never too much. Like, you can take a break there and there, but it's never too much when it comes to your grind, because you know that
100%.
it's gonna pay off. It always pays off. So so
the touch base on that. Yes, there's like, okay, if I make 30 calls in a day and I'm like, you can do more. Right. I think it is important though to just take that small little snippet of time to take that for yourself. You need that, just that small snippet, and back to the grind. True. Because, but you are right. You can always do more. And you can keep doing more. Right. I've noticed if I don't take that small snippet and just disconnect for like 5 hours, or just the Sunday after church and hang out with my family, just for like maybe that 10-hour stretch, and then boom, back to work. I'm like, hey, I'm back to work. I'm getting ready for the next day. I gotta go. Right. I personally, for me, and everyone's different, but I do need that day of just like, it's too much, right? So, but I totally agree with what you're saying, though, 100%.
I agree with what Ori's saying, but I think there's a balance, because I think there's I think if you, like, it's not that if you do too much, but you have to have, like, it's when you do it, like the timing, like your time management, right? Because if I'm just going like from work to the podcast to another, like, I'm gonna like burn out. Like,
you gotta eat, you gotta train, you gotta be healthy.
You gotta have you gotta have time for that. You gotta have like some. It's just about time management.
And also,
correct.
I'm sorry for saying that. I can't remember why I was listening to it. I don't know if you Matt DeValley, bro. He has a podcast called The Ground Up Show, and he had this content creator guys on it, and they were saying there's a difference between being busy and being productive.
100%.
So like, you can.
Are you working hard, or are you working smart?
Exactly. So,
right.
That
goes back to knocking on 100 doors.
Exactly.
And my hand against the wall.
That's true.
Right.
That's
true. So that's a good point too.
So like, you can be walking on 24/7, but you can walk 5 hours, and what you do in 24 hours, you can do it in 5, because you're more productive. So
100%. That's something I have to work on, is time management as well. So
me as well.
But that's tough. It's tough to achieve, though. It's very tough.
It is. I feel like once you conquer the time management, though, that's when you really start progressing really hard, because all of a sudden, when it's like, well, like, we're just doing podcasts for a living now, it's like no one's really our boss. No one's telling us, hey, we got to be at work at this time. It's like you have to have those actual structures in place in your own schedule and your regiment to keep with that, or else if you climb to the top of Mount Everest, oh yeah, we finally made it, bro. Okay, what do we do from here? How do we get down? Right. So I was always told that getting to the top of Mount Everest is easy. Well, compared to getting down.
That's true.
You're dying, you don't have oxygen, trying to get off the mountain, and that kind of stuff, right? So
So just on that point, actually, so you want to get there and you want to stay there. It's like, oh, get to the top, but I'm stuck at the top.
Yeah.
How would you go about doing that? Because it's a different process than just going to the top. You have to think about getting to the top and then maintaining it. So how would you go about that? Like, what steps or what advice could you give to somebody who's trying to do that?
So in my opinion, I guess the metaphor to me is like, you got to get back down the mountain. You got to keep the process moving forward, because if you just stay at the top and you just stay to where you got, like, you have to keep developing.
Yeah.
Right. So if you stay at the top, and you're like, okay, we're up here. Like, where do we go from that? We're just going to stay up here and freeze to death? No, we got to figure a way back down and develop more processes so we can get to another top of a mountain, get down this mountain and go to the top of that mountain and get down that mountain, keep climbing mountains, right? Yeah. And develop systems and keep basically, improving yourself and making better content or making, or getting more inspiration people on a podcast or whatever, right? One thing I thought was really cool, I really enjoyed that guy who makes music. Yeah. I'm like, that was cool. That was cool that he was on here. I don't even know who he is. I forget his name, but
we've had like 3.
He's from like New Brunswick. He had like a million.
PSL.
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Shut up, PSL.
Hey, boy. I'm going to check out your beats. I haven't yet, but.
My God.
But yeah, that's what I would say, if you get up. And I'm honestly, like, I feel like I've only, like, climbed up, like, 10 kilometers of, like, Mount Everest, I don't know how hard it is, but I got a lot more kilometers to go. Right, but that's the hustle. Yeah, you have to enjoy the hustle. Yeah. If you don't enjoy it, get out.
Enjoy the process.
Go, like, chill out and watch the football game and go to your 9 to 5 and chill out, right? If it's not for you, right? But
so I have a question. I don't know if you've experienced it before. So I think you kind of did already, because with the 100 customers, you're saying no. So let's say let's use an example. So let's say you did a work and you're very doubtful about what you're doing. How do you push past that?
So doubtful in regards to you actually being ethical, or doubtful in regards to the process that you have that's going to try and get you to where you're going?
Okay, so I'll put it this way. So let's say you make a content and you're doubtful that it's good.
That's a really tough question. Like, I guess if you're doubtful if it's good,
so let's say
I guess I would ask, like, if you have a mentor in your life. I do myself.
Okay.
That's the guy that helped me with the inner city stuff, and that's the guy that helped me with the GJP Auto Pro. I actually saw him today.
Okay.
We see each other like once every year and a half, but we're on phone calls like every week, like, trying to discuss strategies, right? So in my opinion, if you're doubtful about something, you should have people on your side and people that you confide in, people who actually really care about you. Yeah. Right? Not just like, oh, I'm gonna pay this life coach. Yeah. Well, what's this life coach doing? He's just giving you tips to do something. Get a true mentor who's a millionaire, billionaire, whatever, who's doing the game, who has that stuff. If you're doubtful, maybe like ask someone some advice on it. No, bro, you shouldn't post that. Or one time I made a video, like I figured out how to make a clone video.
I saw that. I saw it. Yeah.
And the audio was just terrible because there's cars going by, it's raining, I'm outside the dealership, and I'm like, I literally took 2 hours to shoot it. I'll get it, like, you gotta like match your scripts. I have an earpiece, when to shut up, when to talk, right? When 2.0 is talking, right? And I was like, bro, like, I'm not like, I don't know, it was a good video, but I can't hear anything. So you know what, bro, post it, because it's content, right? And there's been other stuff where he's like, that's kind of cringy, bro, and I asked him his opinion on it, and he's like, yo, like, don't post that. Right? So I feel like if you're doubtful, it's always good to have a second opinion from a reliable source of constructive criticism.
Go ahead.
To follow up with that, would you say looking for what's that word? Feedback from people that are aware of what you're doing, or feedback from people that don't know shit? So let's say, for example, with the content you're making, are you going to get advice from somebody else that makes content, or are you going to get advice from somebody that doesn't make content and know anything about what's a good content?
Someone who makes content. Okay, 100%.
That's what I wanted to
Not just some guy who's like, because I've had, share videos of people, oh, dude, that's dope, or dude, that's so stupid, what are you doing? Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't want advice from that person. They're not doing what I'm trying to do. Yeah. Right? This guy over here is already doing it. He's done it. and he's already been through the grind, and he's probably already went through those, those shitty or crappy stuff that he's made, right? And then he can tell you if it's a good idea to post it or not. So definitely 100% someone who actually knows what they're doing. So, maybe some of your, like, if you're like had something and you're making it, maybe like some new intros and stuff you guys are going to work on, because I know you are. Maybe talk to some of your videographer friends and be like, hey, is this okay? Like, is this angle all good? They'd be like, you'll be like, if they're a true honest person and they're like, you know what, just do it, post it and have it on there. But so that's my 2 cents on that. So
So my question for you is, how do you go about choosing a mentor?
I was gonna ask next, actually, so you're in my mind.
See?
Well, that's another whole story in itself. Like, I mean, because God puts people in your life for still. So, I guess if you go, hey, I'm looking for a mentor on Facebook.
Okay. What's
someone
like,
mentor me?
What do you look for in a mentor? I should say, like, what do you look for in a mentor? Like, what are you trying to get out of being a mentor?
And I honestly want to add to it too, which is, how do you actually find a good mentor?
Yeah, like, how do you find?
Where do you go?
Yeah, because you don't know, like, because you only see people in the face value a lot of times. Like, you don't know what they're doing, like, behind. Like, you don't.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Like, even a mentor, like, I mean, people who are in your industry who you talk to, like, those could be mentors, right?
That's true.
I feel like God puts people in your space for mentors and stuff like that. Like, I lucked out meeting my brother. Like, I'm lucked out, right? And I literally used to have a brother and he passed away when I was younger. And like, I literally look at him and I'm like, dude, this guy's my brother. Like, he's my older brother. Yeah. That's literally how I look at him. Like, it's really weird. So God put us together, pretty much. And he's shaped the way I am, pretty much. And he's my mentor. So how do you go about finding mentors? Well, you have to put yourself in certain situations where you can actually meet people who could possibly actually mentor you, right? Because let's say you're at the club, or let's say all the boys are smoking up, and it's like, those guys, I don't know, what are they doing? Are they going to be mentors to me, or should I go out and maybe go to that event and maybe go shake some hands and maybe meet some new people and make new networks of Indian food, sorry. Boys.
Indian food today.
So that would be my thing to that, is just meet more people, because if you put yourself out there, those people will naturally gravitate towards you because you're gravitating towards them and trying to meet more people, right? So, and I always think that, like, hey, anyone in your network that is a hustler, and maybe if they want their second opinion on something, like, I'm always down, like, if you guys want to shoot me something, hey dude, what do you think of this? Like, oh, I think it's dope. Like, I think it's dope. Like, you guys should roll with it, right? So, but I'm not a mentor to you guys. We're all like, I don't know, we're on a podcast and we're on the same level. We're like starting out like hustlers, like, we want to do some big things, right? So I would say, to answer your question, you got to put yourself out there and put yourself in situations and different things where you can actually meet these high ticket people who are like, yo, guys who are millionaires, those guys who want your mentors. You don't want the life coach who makes $60,000 a year coaching people. It's like, bruh.
So you want somebody who's in the position that you desire to be.
Which is
and
true.
That's and that probably has the quality, like, because it's probably not just about that they're in the position, but it has like the values and the qualities that you want to emulate, you know?
And typically when you meet someone, how genuine they are too, right?
True.
I wouldn't want to get advice from someone who's telling me to, like, hey, like, sell that car to that person. We know the head gasket's going to blow on it, but you know what? You should make your money on it. It doesn't matter. Send him down the road. I'm like, I don't want to learn from that person. He's not ethical, right?
That's true.
And I feel like in your guys is like what you're trying to do. I feel like there's a lot of videographers out there that you might even know, and you could like kind of touch base with, but definitely, like, you got to put yourself out there and meet more people, right?
And they know the same thing.
And not just stay in your circle of friends, right?
So expand,
But they know the same thing Bobby T was saying, which is like, you got to expand yourself, get yourself to more social events and meet different people.
Exactly.
So I got to follow up to something which you said, not the mentor side, but I think I see it in the sense that same mindset, because I can't remember what I was watching it, which is like, the people you surround yourself with is who you become.
Oh, 100%.
If you surround yourself around bombs, you're going to become a bomb. So,
Yo, okay. I saw Tafara today, okay? And
Tafara.
By the way, Tafara, dude, you got to bring Tafara on this podcast.
I will. Tafara, don't worry, I got you.
If I'm on this podcast, Tafara is like,
Tafara,
boom,
I got you.
up here for the
I got you,
clout,
Tafara. Don't
bro.
even worry. I got
like,
you.
That boy is a sales manager now of like Go Auto dealerships, man. Like, he's killing it. Like, that guy, like, I saw Tafara today, and I don't really hang out with a lot of people, by the way. Like, all my buddies, like, once in a while, I'll go say hi, what's up, but they all drink and do drugs. I'm like, bro, like if I say I can't talk about anything meaningful with them either. Like sitting here with you guys, like you guys are my boys. Like I mean, I don't think that this connection will ever go away now.
Definitely
like
not,
honestly, like we met on White App for a reason. You know, even though I shouldn't have been out there, but we met for a reason, man. We got reconnected. So you know, definitely the people you hang around with. Like, let's say you have some buddies. It's not like you just cut everyone off. There's people who mean to, like, they mean a lot to me still, right? I'm like, you know, but the most part of it, I really only really hang out with like 1 or 2 people for the most part. I'm usually by myself, you know, working. But it was really cool when I saw Tafar today because I'm like, man, that boy, he's a killer. You know, like he's like, if I could hang out with Tafara, like, you know, like fly down here and chill with him at the weekend, I would. You know, so to your point, like I really got a cool vibe when I saw Tafara today because, like, you know, you just see him doing so well. We have like likewise mindsets and stuff like that, and I feel like those are people like, you know, you should probably hang around with. And it's not like people like that typically. It's like we're all like trying to work together. It's not like, oh yeah, we get together a weekend and chill and watch the football game. It's like, no, and usually when you guys meet up, it's like something like this, meaningful, something that's moving in a forward direction. And I feel like when you surround yourself with those people, like you end up working with them and stuff like that and developing further, right? So
True. One thing that I also wanted to ask you is like, because I know you're bringing them up a lot, and that's something that we always bring up in the beginning of the podcast is what's the importance of like God in your grind and in your hustle and in your life though? Yeah,
so I kind of touched base on that earlier, right? I think it's the most important thing, in my opinion. You know, I'm a true believer in the Bible, everything in the Bible. I feel like Yeshua, that's what actual Jesus' name is, Yeshua, or Jesus, whatever you want to call him. I believe in the Holy Spirit, and I can't do anything without it. Every single time I've got addicted to drugs, I've just turned to God, and all of a sudden, boom, I'm back on track, and like I got this whole like super like persona and like just like peace and content in my soul, right? So if I don't have that, I've done it before where I just kept like working, and I'm like, I don't got the same buzz going on.
I don't got the juice.
I'm like, I don't got no juice, my man. And then I'm like, I gotta get back to God, bro. And it's difficult because there's certain things that I've had to give up to have a true connection and actually like stay as like holy as I can, right? Because in my life, now you're gonna say something.
I was gonna say examples.
Yeah.
What did you give up?
Sleeping around. Stuff like that. I think the next girl I probably sleep with is gonna be. I'm not allowed to say it on here.
No. Go for it.
This ain't getting monetized, bro.
No, you're good.
Whatever. If it gets 100,000 views, they can make another one and get monetized.
You're good. Go for it.
So, like the next girl I'm with, like she's my soulmate. Like I haven't been with a girl for like a year and a half now.
So you say
drugs.
Okay, drugs. What else? So sticking around drugs.
Girls, stuff like that. And then also just like, I guess those are the 2 big ones. Obviously getting drunk every weekend, that's not good for your soul. It's not. And I know that for a fact because if I drink and get hammered on the weekend, Monday, Tuesday, I'm not the same person. I don't have the same gift, you know? God made us and he created our minds and balanced everything perfectly because that's the way it should be. You don't need something to alter it. That's just me though, right?
No.
Like some people can smoke dope and still do what they got to do, right? That's their thing. That's their stuff with God. That's not, I ain't getting in the middle of that, right?
Listen, so I love how you went into that. So how, because those periods, there's obviously periods of time where you're not like as into your relationship with God and stuff like that, and you're maybe struggling, do it whether it's sleeping around or smoking or whatever, right? So like. How do you bounce back from that? Because sometimes you feel so like sometimes maybe not you personally, but for me personally, sometimes I'm like, man, I'm doing so much stuff that I'm not supposed to be doing that it's like, man, it's hard. Like I feel so guilty that it's hard for me to come back. I feel so guilty. I'm like, man, I know or I know if I pray, I'm like, hey, maybe help me with this. Help me to stop smoking weed or to stop sleeping around. But I don't really want to stop. Like, I want to stop. I still want to clap.
See,
I still want to smoke.
That's the difference, right? And you know what I mean? If you still want to go clap around, whatever, you can do that, right? But at the same token, it's like...
but I'm laughing.
Like, when you're asking how you bounce back from that.
How I bounce back from that.
Go back, if we could rewind to, I don't know, when I said something about there's positive energy and there's negative energy. And the negative energy just wants to bring you down. And the negative energy wants you to feel guilty, so you don't feel good enough to come back to the light. Right? And it's like, you got to push that away. You got to move on from it, bro. You know? And that's how you move on. And there's no actual scientific and like, you know, okay, you got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do that. Yeah, it's got to be in your soul and your heart. Right? Now, you know, there's obviously massive billionaires who are like, just like, you know, probably crooks and terrible people, right? And they're rich, but I can guarantee you when they die, their soul is going to not be in the greatest place, right? And their God is money, right? Yeah, I want to be a millionaire. Yeah, I want to do big things, but the glory is always given to God, you know? And the glory will always go to him first. I will always be with him first, because without him, I don't have this. Bada boom, bada bang, dropping bombs.
Bang, dropping bombs.
You guys should get like, you guys know who Bradley is or no?
No.
Oh, okay. You guys should.
I think I know.
You know Bradley?
Yeah, those sounds.
Yeah. You guys should get one of those buttons, like,
man, we need like a gem job.
I know what you're talking about. It's like those sound effects where you can press it.
Whatever, that'll be down the road. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, like, even to what you said, it's like, it's so true. I mean, like, if you take a step back and think about it, like, when you don't do any of those stuff, you're the most productive.
Yeah.
And even to add to what you were saying about like bouncing back, I personally believe that I think in whatever situation you're in that situation because of the choices you made, and you have the ability to get yourself out of it. And I think the number one foundation to everything is always still discipline.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was watching a YouTube video from this guy. His name was Jonko Jijigas. Again, like the Indian.
100%.
Nah, be good, bro. Trust me, man.
Bro.
Oh, unfiltered. just Aquille.
Go on what you're saying, though.
But I don't know if you guys know his name is Jonko.
I don't know who he is.
Jonko, but it's like a big guy. It's like David Goggins. Let's put it that way. I think everyone knows. You know David Goggins, yeah?
No.
Wim Hoffman.
Yeah, Wim. Oh yeah.
So people like that. So people like that. So this guy was like, he got a DM or an email from a fan, and the fan was like, he was blaming him for his lack of discipline, and the guy was like, yo, his blame is where he grew up in for his lack of discipline. And then, anyways, to cut it short, it was like, yo, you have to, like, discipline is not from outside, it's from inside. Like, you have to want to be disciplined. So I feel like personally in everything in life, like, yo, discipline is key. If you want to be closer to God, you have to be disciplined to make sure you don't break certain stuff.
100%.
Touch.
See, and that's so. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll say one thing on that. I feel like God gives you discipline, but you have to work for that. Too,
Yeah.
So do you mean like you have to work through it through trials or?
Well, I get tested, you know, almost like once in a while when I go home, I'm getting tested. Hey, Garrett, go roll up a joint, relax, right? And then I'm like, discipline. No, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to eat a good meal. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up good and have a blessed day tomorrow. Yeah. Right? But I don't know why I said that. But
no. So how do you consistently stay disciplined? Because this is the thing. No. Listen. Listen. That's like saying, okay,
I'll tell you the answer.
You don't do any of the stuff that you've done for you start, right? Like you're struggling and like, you know what, no, I need to fix this thing. Yeah. And then you start doing it. Yeah. And you're doing well for maybe 3-4 months or whatever, how many months.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And then you slip up, right? And then when you slip up, it's like if you don't get back on the next day, if you don't come back the next day, you're going down.
I'll give you the answer to that question. Have you ever seen me smoke weed?
No.
Ever seen me drink?
No.
Exactly. The point is, and the reality of it is, you gotta have that want to not do it. Two.
But that's the thing. What if I want to do? What if that's what I'm saying. But listen, right? What if, like, okay, say I like smoking weed, right? Okay. And I want to smoke, right? But I know that maybe it's not good for me. Maybe it doesn't make me as productive. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be disciplined myself so that I don't do it. But the desire is still there, right?
I have a point to that. Okay. I have a point to that. Okay. So Aquille, I don't know what your experiences are with weed and the next day or whatever, or how you feel and that kind of thing. Yeah. For me, how I stated that, I'm like, okay, am I gonna give up tomorrow for tonight for this high, or am I just gonna stay even kill and glide on the water and and just stay even killed instead of going up and then down? right? And you don't really notice it when you smoke dope because you get high, and here's your level of where the mind is supposed to be. You smoke weed, and you're gonna go, ooh, yeah, baby, I feel good, I'm all creative and stuff. And honestly, I'm not saying that you should stop. It's up to you, bro, and it's up to you and God to decide what is good for you, right?
Yeah.
But then for me, I drop to there, right? When I should be right there and good to go, right? But if I'm down here, I don't like that.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer that question, you always have to weigh out the pros and cons of your decisions pretty much, right? So like if I go out and get drunk and put stuff up my nose and stuff like that, like I've been hard into that kind of stuff, right, and whatnot, but then it's like, okay, I didn't have a good time, right? It wasn't good, it wasn't a great time, but I got high, right? And then the next day and the next couple of days I'm hungover, I didn't do anything. So am I going to give up the next 2-3 days for one night of bullshit?
Exactly.
But again, that's going the extreme on that side, because I don't think you guys have ever been to that side of things like this far. Like weed's here and the rest is down here
there.
pretty much, right? Like staying up to like 5 a.m. It's not a good time, right? But I guess to answer your question on that, not to barge in, would be weighing out the pros and cons of your decisions.
No, that
right?
was what I was going to.
How do I feel tomorrow, and how productive I am the next 2 days or whatever when I do smoke up, right?
Sure,
Or am I still productive?
Yeah.
If I'm still productive, well, maybe I'm not changing anything. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're
right?
good then. That's very true. Like honestly, I personally feel like, for example, like if you're very disciplined when it comes to your fitness, just apply the same. It's like taking that same mindset and applying it towards that. Because like I know for a fact that like it's just like you said. Just think about like if you're not smoking, if you're not drinking, how productive are you? If you're not smashing around, how productive are you? Then I weight that con, put that over. Like honestly, I always tell you this, like I would never put chilling whatever over like your grind, because like the reality of it is, like right now, see you're smashing whenever you're slipping around, bro, that can end tomorrow. And if all the girls are like, no, I'm not talking to you anymore. You have nothing going on with you.
Or you could have a baby that you didn't need to have before. Maybe you want kids down the road, but right now isn't the time, right?
And
I know it's difficult for him. He's a tall Jamaican, handsome guy. All the girls want him, but it's like, bro, hey, not everyone can have this stream of goodness. Only the goddess I choose can have it, right?
I don't know what he's talking about, yo. I don't know what he's talking about, yo. I don't know.
No, it's the truth. Like, it's so true. Like, bro, because like, it's that 1 hour, 2-3 hours of like the fun excitement, and then afterwards you're like drained. You're like, damn.
It is kind of draining, man. That's what I feel when I go do that. I'm like, I'm sorry, God. I'm like, I don't feel like the greatest after that. I had my 10 to 15 minutes of action that felt awesome, but then after I'm like, I'm like,
it's just like what they call it. They call it that. I think is it post-nut clarity?
Post-nut?
Yeah. No, it's a thing, bro. It's a thing, bro. Actually, a thing, bro.
Post-nut clarity.
It's a thing, bro. Like, no, for real. Like, after you, like, you do whatever, and you're like, no, it hits you. You're like, bro, like, imagine, bro, stay
Come back to your senses.
Like, literally, bro, imagine this. Sorry for cutting you off, but imagine this. Like, bro, you're going to work by 6, 7. You're clapping chicks to 1:32 a.m. and you're going to work by 6.
That's dedication.
It is in a certain way. You ain't gonna be as productive the next day. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Your soul probably won't feel the same either. But but think about it when you're in that situation and you overcome it, and you're like, wow.
You did.
I feel powerful, baby. Ain't nothing got shit on me.
Yeah.
You
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Yeah, you
What's
fought.
that?
I'm gonna get that. It's Denzel Washington.
Yeah. He's actually a Christian, hey.
Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's
I
just
like
like
Denzel
fighting
Washington.
temptation. Temptation is,
Yeah.
and I personally feel, especially when it comes, because I'm a Christian too. My mindset is like, when you're doing good, that's when temptation hits you.
Yes.
I know that for a fact.
The enemy always wants to bring you down, bro. He doesn't want to see you good.
Especially when
He doesn't want to see you
when
do
there's
good.
something
That's very
that you know that like something good is coming your way. That's when you notice that your phone is buzzing. Friends are calling like, yo, hey, what's up? Yo, let's hang out. Let's do this.
Yeah.
The stuff that you're trying to get away from.
Come on over.
It's like calling you. That's what I mean. My mindset towards anything is like, yo, the things that I know that are gonna make me lose focus, either remove it. Like, no one's saying don't have fun, but like remove like completely. Because like it's just like remember there was a time I was always saying like you gotta have that discipline. Like from when you were trying to not watch TV and stuff. Yeah. Later on, I was like, you know what? Nah. Sometimes you gotta remove those stuff away from because when you see like it's like I don't know what.
So okay. How
do you do it?
How would you do it with something that's so common?
Block, delete.
But okay. Here's the thing. But I was gonna say a point. So like being disciplined and being true to the grind and your faith and everything like that. That is fun. Yeah, and that's more fun. And I always say if you're gonna go this route, like the girls, the drugs, the alcohol, here's that. Okay, that's kind of fun. But this is way more fun. This is feeds your soul. Yeah. This literally it's just way better, right? So this is the easy way to take. This is the hard way to take. But I guarantee you, the hard way to take is so much more fun. Yeah, it's 10 times more fun. Especially, but you were gonna say something and we cut you off. So
no. I just when you were saying that, I just thought of this like the easy way or the hard way. Yeah.
Do you want to do this the easy way, Kill?
No, the hard way, man. The choice is yours. Yeah, no, but
you know what I'm talking about, yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. Like, when a cop is like, I don't know. I'm just, there's been a lot of things in series.
We're gonna have to give him the pass. Do you have your phone with you?
I do. It's over there.
Can you look up?
We can't watch that. He can't watch that, man.
Why can't I watch it?
No. See,
what am I? Am I doing really good?
Can we do that on the podcast?
Nah, just ask. Don't put it at the mic. Don't put it at the mic. It's we check it after.
We'll check it after. We'll check it after.
Look up, but anyone out there?
Felice Johnson.
You guys are talking about
the booty warrior.
But honestly, I was like you were saying, like my own personal belief is like you said, like I think what was in the book of The Way of a Superior Man, which is like when you as a man you're following your purpose in life. Everyone in this life is here for a reason. When you're following that, like bro, if it fuels you so much, you're like, oh shit, like I did this, I'm doing this. I'm sorry, like no girl, no can actually do that. I personally feel like a lot of times most guys are actually just smashing mostly for ego. That's what I think.
Well, 100%. I wanted to lose my V card because of ego, right? That's all I wanted to do because that's what society is like. I was going to say something. Imagine if the entire world, just thought and was disciplined and were productive hustlers. Yeah. Imagine what it would be like,
crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's nuts. Hey, you know what? I'm going to ask you guys a question.
Go for it.
Real quick. What do you guys see for your next step to get this podcast more creative and grow and get better?
I think that's a good question. I think that you have to constantly think of ways to improve. So like ways we can improve the questions, the content, like even the lighting, the equipment. Like I think if we improve ourselves, it will make the quality of the content better. Because if I'm whether I'm reading more books or I'm actually researching more of my guests, figuring out, having pre-interviews with them, getting better questions, the conversation is going to flow better. I'm going to know what to talk about, what things I want to dive into. You know what I'm saying? I think that promoting it more too is also going to increase the views, increase the followers, posting more often,
100%,
and stuff like that. Like I think there's a lot of things that we can use to. I think there's a lot of things that we can do to improve. Actually,
yeah, because I'm a firm believer that you guys have a weekly or maybe every 2 weeks you put up a podcast. That was a good move to do because you got to have time to edit the stuff. You got to have time to put it all together. It's too rushed, right? But I know all about that. It's tough to do, right? But it's good. Like you guys are doing a good job. Throughout your social media kind of schedule, you can make other posts like take a picture of Ore, like, hey, Ore's in the shop, like, he's in the lab, like, just creative content that's still showing people, like, hey, behind the scenes, some different things, right? Because, like, even what I do, it's like, okay, like, yeah, sure, I'm going to highlight a vehicle every week, but then what's in between that? Certain pictures, certain this, certain that. So it's like constant content creation, being creative and keep developing more stuff that just kind of like enlightens of what you're doing. You don't necessarily, it doesn't always have to be about the podcast, but it can be stuff that is geared towards the podcast, right? Because the podcast is obviously like, hey, that's the show, baby. Like, y'all, we better check him, my man. This shit is good, right? But yeah, that's what I would say. My 2 points on that. So
He used to answer.
Honestly, I just have 2 things to actually add to it, which is one, I personally feel is just making better content to connect with the fans. Because like I know for a fact, I think I was telling you it was a book I was reading, which was called Super Fans. Like realistically, as a content creator, all you really need is just 1,000 loyal fans. That's it. 1,000 loyal fans that are gonna subscribe, promote your content. 1,000 loyal fans that, so for example, you drop a merch, you're guaranteed in your head that you know you have 1,000 people that are gonna pick up your merch. So I feel like one is making better content that we actually connect to the fans, and also finding mediums that we can actually connect better with them. Maybe it might be making groups that we can connect together. Maybe it might be Q&A sessions, stuff like that. So there's different ways.
yeah, no doubt about it.
That's one aspect.
Yeah.
And I think the second one, honestly, just me and Aquille personally just improving ourselves in a different level.
Yeah.
Once right now, there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about that we know, but we can't because we're not at that level yet.
For sure.
So that's just
and you
my
guys have done
mindset.
a really good job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you should pat yourselves on the back for what you guys have done so far.
Yes, sir.
Because honestly, this podcast is gonna change my life.
Hey, bless.
I like that.
100%.
I like that.
Best.
I like
This
that.
podcast is literally gonna change my life and fuel me for the next 12 months of what I'm gonna do.
I like
I love that. I
It
love
is.
that.
You know? And that's what it should do. You know, whether you're watching it or in it. Right?
Preach.
Ooh, I like
Word.
that. Ooh, I like that. And you know what? You were the first guest on the podcast to ask us a question.
Oh, for real?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you already stood out. You just stood out yourself.
We have questions behind the scenes, but
but-
never actually on camera.
on
Well, I
camera.
just feel like there's something cool going on here right now.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what to expect when I came on here, but both you guys are really good at keeping the conversation moving and digging deeper into what someone says too, right?
Yeah,
So
true.
I don't think you don't just learn that. Like that's something you guys have to like, you know, obviously like just you have to work hard to get it. You know, you can't just learn it and be like, oh yeah, we know what to say, we know how to keep a conversation moving, yada yada yada, right?
And
No, that's something that we
well,
appreciate.
one more stuff we also gotta make out to everyone, so people don't think it. We don't script.
No script, baby.
I don't know. That doesn't look like a script, does it?
No script, baby.
There is no script. You
Everything-
can't script on a podcast.
No.
The only thing I really want you guys to do is bring Tafara here and get him on the podcast, baby.
You know, actually,
We had
That boy's on
I was
fire, man.
thinking
He's on
about something.
We're
fire.
gonna start with him.
I think we're gonna start with you. So, okay, what I was actually thinking of doing is there's a podcast. Shout out to All the Smoke, yo, Matt and Stack. Shout out to you guys. They what they do on All the Smoke, right? Is at the end they'll have the guest and they'll be like, yo, so who do you think we should have on next on the podcast? So you just shout it out to Farah. So
I
then,
did, yeah.
but if you shout out the person, you also have to have a means for us to get in contact with the
That
person.
person.
So you gotta
means.
help us
Get
get
that
that
far.
person.
You have Tafara's number.
No. Okay, that's fine. No, not for this guy. But in
No,
the
I get what
future,
you're saying.
that's
I
what
know.
that's what we're gonna
Hey,
do.
you throw shade on my height. I gotta throw shade on some
Of course,
stuff that you say
of
too,
course,
right?
of course. I mean,
I'm short. I get it.
Honestly, I've told you at the shady one. It's easy.
listen.
bucket.
No. Listen, we're standing together. We're staying together. Don't be switching sides, man.
I said
You
I'm
know me
like,
long and don't switch
I'm
sides
in the
for me.
middle. I'm like separated from the
My guy,
dynamic.
listen. See, you can switch. I'm still good.
It's okay.
My
Don't
guy,
worry.
trust me, man.
Don't
Look,
worry.
I'm
Your
about to
time will
handle-
come.
My time. Listen,
Dog.
bro. I keep telling you this, bro.
Your
Listen,
time will come, brother.
listen. See,
time will come.
remember how I grew up, bro? I grew up being bullied, bro. At
That's
this
okay.
point in my life, bro, I don't, bro.
No. I don't care about that.
He's
Okay.
hard to pick on, man.
Listen.
Bro, listen.
Your time will come.
That's fine.
brother.
And I'll be like, you know what? It's true. You see, the problem between this ball, listen. The problem with this is that, bro, you're denying it. You're not
I'm
accepting
not
it.
denying,
You're
bro.
not
The
accepting
people
it,
know, bro.
Take it off, bro.
Okay.
Take
If
it
I was
off.
denying it, would I let you post this
Take
video
it off.
of me with my looking
it
like
off.
a half-eaten grandpa down bro?
See, you see, this is the problem, though. If you accept it, you take it off.
I guess so, but come on, man. Everyone's gotta, have their own things. Dude, what are you talking about, dude? Well, hey, all I can say is the greatest athletes in the world, hence Michael Jordan, LeBron James,
brother.
James.
My
I mean, they're all going bold a little bit, right? I mean, I'm gonna lose my hair too. Look at that, dude. It's going away,
right?
right? So
no, that's where it started.
it's all
Right in the
good.
corner. Right in the corner is where it started. And then, hey, you guys have anything in the corner and you start seeing it, it's only a matter of time. But you know what? Antonio, I'll play the bald man's anthem soon, but I haven't got there yet.
No, it's all
I'm
good.
not there yet.
It's all good.
But what he said, he brought up. I want you to repeat that point that you brought up. He said all the great what?
All the greatest athletes like LeBron James. Like, he's kind of held on to it a little bit too long. He should probably shave his head. But Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Who's some other guys that are, I don't know. I can't really name
I would
anymore.
follow up
But
to that though.
what?
But right now you're not an athlete though.
Listen,
So
But he's gonna
I'm
be
an
a
athlete
legend.
in the game of life, baby.
Yo, that's what I'm talking about, baby.
You didn't expect
The
that one,
game
though.
of life. We're all athletes in the game of life.
Ooh, you didn't expect that one. That's right.
Yo, has this been a dope podcast or what? Has
It
this
has
been dope
been.
or what?
It has been.
Has this been like, a top 10 podcast?
This is
like,
top 10, baby.
10.
whether this
But-
gets 1 view or 3,000 views, I don't care.
Yo, we got 2 questions.
Two more questions.
Okay.
And then, yeah, 2 more.
Okay. So, one question we kind of maybe touched on it a little bit, but I don't know if that was the most difficult period in your life. But I'll ask again just to see. So, one question is, what is the most difficult struggle or obstacle that you've been through in your life?
Indian food.
How did you overcome it? And, Indian food. How did you overcome it? And what did you learn from it?
This is gonna get real deep.
That's what I like to see.
All right, so the biggest obstacles hasn't been drug addiction at all whatsoever. God, you can leave God 1,000 times in one day and He'll take you back and He'll love you the same way. So it doesn't matter. Drug addiction has been easy for me to overcome. Okay, and again, it knocks on the door once in a while. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And my brother dying, it affects me still. I got this tattoo for him. He was a mechanic, okay? And I don't know, I got a crescent wrench, but I got it when I was 18. It would be my mom, because she goes through, she's some health issues once in a while and that kind of stuff. And when your mom is, ill and you're sitting there and you can't do anything for her except for just pray. And by the way, hey, praise God, she's doing really good now. She's doing amazing, the best she's ever done in her life. But through that is the most difficult thing I've ever had to deal with, because when I'm dealing with that, the devil's knocking on the door and saying, Garrett, how are you going to deal with this, Garrett? How are you going to deal with this, Garrett? How are you going to whatever? And then it's like, okay, well, do I take my burdens and drown them in alcohol and drugs, or do I let God take the burden and He can take my burden and He can hold on to that, right? That's been the biggest obstacle in my life, is choosing God over drugs and alcohol when hard times come.
Bars.
That is actually really deep.
That is deep.
Hot.
I think we might kill a battery today.
So
How long are we going for?
we're coming to.
Are we?
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Die,
So
keep going.
how, in that struggle, right? How have you been able to overcome? How do you choose God instead of going into those drugs and alcohol?
You got to think, because if you drown out something, or if you just want to cover it up, the covers always come off, right? And then you're left with that. Just that really terrible feeling, and it actually it amplifies. Because you covered it up, but then it comes back even stronger because you're left low and God isn't there to help you out because you've actually cut the connection off, right? So it's really difficult to say, how do you do it? It's weighing out the decision, right? It's like, okay, it's really difficult for me to deal with. I'm just going to, pray to God, and I'm going to ask Him to take this off of my shoulders, and He can take it. And if you're really connected to the Holy Spirit, it'll happen, and you'll be okay, you know? And you always have to just realize there's other stuff going on in the world, and whatever's happening, it is what it is. True. And God's going to be there for you. True. But if you take the other route, you always have to remember, you're going to go up here, but then you're going to get left down here, right? You're going to be low, and it's going to be even more difficult for you. You need to keep going back to it. So you have to think in the back of your mind, if I go this way, it's going to be, a revolving wheel of me going through that again, and then I'm going to end up crawling back to God anyways, right? I'm going to end up crawling back to Him, bruised and beat. So do I want to keep crawling back, or do I just want to be up here with Him and just have Him take all my stress and leave it away, right? Yeah. That's what I would say, if that answers your question or not.
I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So it's got real, spiritual, talking at the end of this podcast. It's really interesting, but I didn't know we were going to get this deep into that kind of stuff. But
no, that's something that, I think in a couple of the episodes, I think in Tiffany's episode, in Arlene's episode, in Ishmael's episode, a lot of them brought up the importance of God in their grinds, and God is something important even in our grind here too on the podcast. That's why we always mention Him first, right? Yeah. And the thing is like, it's not. I'm not gonna go out there and say that I'm always gonna have a perfect relationship with God. I struggle all the time.
Me too, bro.
All the
Me
time,
too.
right?
Yeah.
But it's like that's literally what this podcast is about. It's talking about the struggles, because like it's so like when I was younger, I used to always see my parents and stuff like that. Like, oh, they have such a good relationship, but like they struggle too, right? But you don't see that stuff, right? So that's what this podcast is really about. It's really to show those struggles, to help show people that like, hey, there's other people out there that are struggling, but they're all working towards improving and getting better.
Exactly. Yep. And then everybody killed.
So unfortunately, Ore had to use the bathroom to take a number 2, so he had to leave. But
the camera died. The battery died.
No lie. But we have our last important and special question, on the podcast, and it is, drum roll, what is your theory of the grind?
Stay true to yourself. Focus. Put your focus on God, and stay disciplined. And just hustle, baby, and leave all the noise outside, and keep your doors shut to negativity and keep your doors open to positivity, baby. And that's it.
I love it. Also, where can the people find you on all your social media platforms? Maybe tell them anything that you have coming up.
Yeah, super easy. So YouTube channel is coming up. There's not enough content that I've created in order to have a great YouTube channel. So I want to make sure I get some better content before I start that. But you can find me on Instagram and Facebook right now. GJP Auto Pro. It's easy. GJP Auto Pro. GJP Auto Pro. And that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. And keep following their page. Like the page. Subscribe to the page. Comment below. If you dislike or like, it don't matter. Just do what you got to do and get these guys more views and stuff like that, because I can't wait to see them when they get monetized.
And not only us, but make sure you go and do the same for his stuff.
I would greatly appreciate it. But
like, go and blow up his feed. DM him. You see his energy. He's not going to mind.
I love you guys. Everyone watching.
We out.
Peace.
Just so you guys know,
he did. He don't listen. Listen. He just came back real quick.
It's cut. That was dope. I'm glad we got to do that,
man.
bro. That was live, man. That was live.